What is the headline, do you think, entering this preseason week right now, now that we know that there's no fourth preseason game anymore? This is where rubber meets road. What do you think the major headline is for you that you're looking to have identified entering week 2 of this preseason, Lewis?
Yeah, you know what? I'll keep it really specific to our game.
Sure.
Because honestly, I think it's about quarterback play in different scenarios, right? And I think that's obviously the situation for every team. What's the scenario? What's the situation every team finds themselves in heading into the season? And for Seattle, I mean, Drew Lock not playing in this game throws this quarterback competition, I think, squarely right into the lap of Geno Smith to go ahead and take the bull by the horns and cement his position as the Week 1 starter, as we see it right now for Seattle. And he's going to play. He's going to play tonight or tomorrow night in a game where he's going to have more of his weapons available to him on the outside, although maybe for a limited amount of time. But this football team overall, I think offensively, is being slept on a little bit, Rich. I think everyone kind of assumes that this team is still just devoid of talent on the offensive line and that they're just a 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of team. And, you know, Pete's trying to take them back to the Stone Ages, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing could be further from the truth. This team has one of the fastest teams in the NFL. They got speed galore on the perimeter. And they have got an offensive line with 2 young offensive tackles right now that look the part. Like they can play right now, right out of the box as soon as you take them out of the wrapping. So I think that's what I'm looking for in this game with that. Now on the flip side, you have with Chicago, you have a quarterback who is not going to be, you know, facing any competition for his starting quarterback job in Justin Fields. But man, I mean, this football team, I don't know, man. I think people need to temper their expectations if their expectations were getting a little out of whack, particularly in the city of Chicago, as for, you know, what exactly this team is going to be able to do this year. Because their offensive line's in a state of flux, and I'm not as optimistic as I am about Seattle. They don't have nearly the kind of speed on the perimeter to help this young man out like many of the other young quarterbacks are going to have at their disposal to take their game to another level. And then on the defensive side of the ball, their very best player right now.
He is not
happy. Want to play for him.
What do you think that's all about, Lewis? What's going on with Roquan Smith and that wild NFL Management Council letter to say, hey, whoever's going around to teams saying if Roquan's available in a trade isn't an agent and he's not been given permission to seek a trade? That's wild stuff right now.
Yeah,
on that.
It is, and that's what happens when you're representing yourself, and you can't obviously, you know, have those quote-unquote back-channel conversations, a.k.a. tampering conversations that maybe some agents have with players who are under contract but who are unhappy about their current situation. Then, you know, maybe I guess there's a guy who's trying to do that on Roquan's behalf. And I think what it all leads to is the fact that he feels as though this team isn't showing him any respect. You know, by all reports, they offered him a contract that was severely backloaded, didn't give him the kind of guaranteed money and security up front in the first, you know, initial years of the contract, probably the first 2-3 years of the contract that he thought he deserved. And by all accounts, when you watch his tape, talk to people who played against him, talk to people who played with him, talk to people who coached him, he's one of the top 2 off-ball linebackers in the entire NFL and is still a young centerpiece for any football team. So why wouldn't this be an easy contract negotiation for them in their rebuild, meaning we have a centerpiece right here, we take care of him, and then we continue to build out and help out the offense, help out our young quarterback, get some more pass rushers like we're going to need because Robert Quinn's not going to be around much longer. Why wouldn't this be an easy contract negotiation? I'm a little bit stumped by this one, to be honest with you, and I'm sure we're going to get into it on air Thursday night because I'm fascinated by it. People love, I mean, Rich, you know, people love Roquan Smith as a person and as a player. And he's going to make $9 million this year on his 5th-year option, where other stacked linebackers like Shaq Leonard and people of that caliber are making twice that much. I wouldn't be able to stomach it either. I wouldn't have that sitting well with me either. I wouldn't want to play either. And it's going to be interesting to see how Ryan Poles navigates that here in his first year as a GM.